I think it's easier to live actually in the Philippines than it is in Thailand. They speak English, so you can get whatever you want here. You got to do it.
Hi, what's your name and where are you from?
My name is Dave. I'm from Thailand, but originally from USA.
What are you doing down here in the Philippines?
Well, you should know that the air is very polluted in Bangkok right now. It's the first quarter of the year, and the wind profile and all that causes burning and pollution. So here is fresh air. That's why I'm here.
For those of us that don't know, what do you mean by burning?
Wow, it's a very complicated subject, and I'm kind of known as the air guy among other things in Thailand. But they do crop burning there, and they also actually process heavy metals from coals from electronic boards that used to be done in China, but they shut that down in 2016. So, and there's diesel buses and all kinds of things. But what happens is that, wind comes from the north, and that burning pollution and the local pollution caused by buses and local burning tends to stick in Bangkok. And so the air quality probably is about 150 today, but it gets up to 250 sometimes, and that gets to be choking.
Got it. Okay. And what do you like about the Philippines so far?
Wow, they speak English. I mean, they're not experts at it, but boy, are they a lot better than Thai.
Yeah.
And the food is actually quite good. And for many places in the Philippines, it's not that expensive, and internet is fine.
Yeah.
So, you don't want to do that in Davao, but, or I'm sorry, in Dumaguete really is where I saw the worst. And traveling around is a lot of beautiful places, just very much the same like Thailand.
Okay. Are you traveling by yourself? Are you married, single? What's going on?
Single, traveling by myself. I brought some friends here on the last trip, so yeah, just living a good life.
Okay, tell us about dating. Have you had a chance to date any Filipinas?
No, but I'm, open to it.
What about in Thailand? Did you date any Thai women?
I have dated, when you've been there 6 years, of course, you kind of learn the ropes.
Yeah.
And it's, people look at things a whole different way there in Philippines, or there in Thailand compared to Philippines.
Yeah.
And one fun story maybe.
Yeah, tell us.
I didn't learn it until just a few months ago, is that back in about the 1970s in Thailand, they decided that the reason that the Thai people are so poor is because they have about 7 children, per family. And so that obviously drains the resources, but it's the retirement program when the kids get older.
Yeah.
So what they said was, let's cut down on that. So we have birth control or condoms later on during the AIDS crisis. And it took a number of years to become organic and grow the number of people who knew about this. But what happened is that the number of births per family went from 7 to something under 2.
Yeah.
So it's a tremendous change, right? Well, the same situation really applies in the Philippines, and they're Catholic. So these things about birth control and condoms don't fit.
Yeah.
So in the Philippines, then the number is still running around. I think it was 6, and maybe it's 5 or 4 right now as birth rate before and after. But the point of it is that there are a lot more, Philippine population. I think it's over 100,000 here now. And Thailand is still roughly 65 million. So what did I say? It was more than 100,000. No,
100 million.
100 million, versus 65 million in Thailand.
Gotcha. Okay, speaking of Thailand, because you've been there for 6 years, a lot of people that want to come Asia, they usually consider either Thailand or the Philippines. So tell us some differences or anything that people can decide on where to go, what to do. What has been the biggest difference for you so far between the two places?
Well, certainly I think one should never underestimate the difference between Buddhism and Catholicism. And I don't want to use big words, but and I'm not a particular studier of Buddhism, but the part that I understand is that a lot of it is about having a happy life.
Yeah.
And so, for example, if you were married in Thailand, this is a really good example, and it just isn't working out. Okay, general Buddhist philosophy is you should be happy. It's okay, just, go do something else, right? Well, here, if you're married, it's a big deal, right? Because it's very hard to get a divorce here. And I think that's just one really good example of
Yeah.
a really major difference between the countries.
Okay. And any kind of dislike so far about the Philippines? Something that's not so great?
Um, I don't really have any complaints, to be honest with you. A lot of my friends who came here years before would say the internet's bad, you can't get good food, et cetera, et cetera. But, here we are. I mean, I could light up, my phone, you could light up yours, and, we would all say, no, what do you want to eat? You want tacos? It's over there. What burrito they have? Well, you want, so you can get whatever you want here. It's not a problem. I think it's easier to live actually in the Philippines than it is in Thailand. They did come up with a new visa in Thailand about a year ago,
Okay.
and it's called the long-term resident visa. And you have to have a pension income that's pretty sizable.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I qualified, and I think I was the fifth or sixth person in Thailand to ever get that.
Wow, you're like a trailblazer for everybody that wants to take
Well,
that visa.
I did write
huh?
a user guide on that
Oh,
so
did
that
you?
other people could do it. And some of my friends were able to qualify too. But
Yeah.
otherwise, in Thailand, it's very onerous to renew every year that visa that you have. And but this other way, the LTR makes it much more manageable.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. I was curious how you're able to stay for so long because in the Philippines, up to 3 years as a tourist, you can keep on extending. Whereas in Thailand, you have 30 days, you can extend it 30 more days, and essentially you have to get out.
Exactly, but you can also apply for an O or a non-O visa. I don't want to be technical, but it'll give you, and it is, I don't know the age difference on that. Maybe you have to be over 50, I think, or maybe even 60, but I think it might be over 50 to be a retiree. And that'll give you a year. And then at the end of a year, you have to up it again for a year. So every time you have to up it, you bring in, 30 pages of documentation, and it's fairly onerous. You can hire people to do it, but it's a bit of a challenge.
Okay, so you left 6 years ago. Why did you leave? I want to know. Give us a little more juicy details. What made you decide to come to
I'm not
Asia?
sure I can give you that much juice, but what I can tell you honestly is that I had a really difficult time, a real difficult life and job, right? I mean, I worked very hard when I was in the U.S. for a number of years, and then I could retire. And I was retired for probably 10 years, and my mind was just going numb. And I thought, okay, look, I'm not going to, the kids are out of college now. I want more to my life, and and I want to learn more. So then I decided to go abroad. I first lived in Europe. Unfortunately, I picked Hungary. Not a very friendly place. After a little more than a year, I decided, another friend said, no, I'll go to Asia, and I met up with him here in Thailand, and I haven't left Thailand since, other than to visit here and there. So it's because I wanted to learn new things and grow and not just stagnate fixing pool pumps and TVs and air conditioning units.
A lot of men come here for the women, let's be honest. I mean, to Asia specifically, because the Western dating scene has changed a lot. And do you think that's like a good reason to come out here? Does it make a difference dating an Asian person compared to like a Western woman?
Everybody knows that. I would say that I probably have something on the order of 100, or maybe, if you count the bigger group, 200 expat friends in Thailand. And I don't want to disappoint anybody of the wrong gender here, but not one of them will date a Western woman again.
Wow, okay. I think that says it all.
I think it does.
All right. Do you think you'll ever go back to the U.S., or do you think you're going to make Asia your home probably?
It's a really good question. When you get to be, what my friends who are 70 or so, you get into a point where they're going to make a decision. Am I going to stay or am I going to go? And, I don't have statistics, but, I'll say half of them stay and half of them don't. My daughter's delivering a baby here in about a month.
Wow, congratulations.
And so, I'm going back. I mean, I got to go back. But am I going to live there? No, I don't have any immediate plans to live there. Give me, 5-10 years or some bad health situation maybe that would occur. Okay, then I'll think about it again. But in the meantime, what's not to like?
Yeah, right. Speaking of health situation, any kind of medical experience, hospital visits, anything at all in Thailand or here?
You don't want to ask me these questions. What I would say is, yes, I twisted a knee, right? And I needed an image study, and I even have more stories to tell. But what I would tell you is that Thai hospitals and medical centers are going to school on the tricks that they use in the U.S.
Okay.
Right? And so you should have an advocate if you're going to be overnight in a hospital, which I haven't been, and so I haven't needed an advocate. But anytime you go in, you frequently need a Thai translator with you, so that would qualify. But, yes, I have many horror stories, but one that I will tell you, because I experienced it firsthand,
Okay.
is that on my knee, I wanted an x-ray to make sure it's okay. And I knew the x-ray I wanted. Long story short, I go into a big hospital and I get the x-ray, and I look at, I know radiology, so I go into the radiologist office and I said, well, it looks like soft tissue, not a big problem. He says, not a big problem. Go back to the prescribing doctor, not a big problem. I get my disc and I take it home and put it on the computer. It looks like Casper the Friendly Ghost. And I thought, wow. I remember sitting at the embassy with this guy saying, hey, how come you're here? And he said,
Yeah.
I'm here just because my wife died of cancer in the U.S. And I said, what happened? He said, well, she was fine when she was here, and I went to the U.S. and she just died of cancer, and I had her checked out. And I said, did you have imaging studies? Yeah. And what happened? I gave it to the doctor, and he said, you can't tell anything from this imaging study. You know what they're doing? They're protecting themselves from a lawsuit.
Wow. Okay. Something I would never even thought about. So I'm glad that you said that so people can better be prepared, of course,
It's the
right?
tip of the iceberg.
I can only
You really
imagine.
need to own your own health care and be involved in it to make sure that you're not being taken advantage of. I'm sorry to tell you, but that's the truth.
Okay. Any final advice for someone that's never been to Thailand or the Philippines? What would you tell them?
Wow. You got to do it. It is so different. I never could imagine, and even my friends, there's probably one of my close friends back in the U.S. that really gets it. But you cannot imagine how different their mindset is. And as an example, this is a really good example. One of my friends was dating a woman, and her response on the dating app was, I want to take it slow. So I know a Thai woman that is, I've known for a while, and I said, what does take it slow mean? And she said, oh, it can be boom boom, but you're just not boyfriend girlfriend yet.
Oh.
And I thought, that would never appear, have ever come to my mind.
Yeah,
and I had been there 4 years 4.5 years when this came up.
Yeah.
And I thought, we have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
It's such an adventure figuring out how many things you can be wrong about.
Okay, it sounds fun. Okay, last question for sure. What is your biggest difficulty in Thailand and in the Philippines? Because I'm going to assume it's language in Thailand, but I could be wrong. So what's your biggest challenge there?
I think the one that comes to mind is what I got interviewed one time, by the government in Thailand, and the answer was, they said, what's the most difficult thing for you? And I answered, oh, it's really simple. What? Everything here takes at least 3 times as long as me doing it in the U.S. What? I've never heard that before. Really? How is that possible? You want examples? Now put it in the Philippines. I couldn't make a phone call today.
Yeah.
So I went to top up my phone. Okay, I just wasted 299 pesos. Why? Oh, it says that it's a phone, but it's a landline you're calling. That's not a cell phone. It's a different package. What?
Yeah.
And it goes on and on and on. I've been trying to verify Gcash. I'm a tech guy. I came out of the computer industry and I know how to use a phone. I've tried to get Gcash to verify on a passport. Believe me, it's valid. This is the LTR passport. And every time I send it in, it says you've been denied because you don't have a good image. No, I do have a good image. And I know how to take a photo. Maybe not quite so good as you. No, living abroad is hard. It takes a special person. And you have to be resourceful. And I know you are very resourceful. And I think I am, but I'm clearly not.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd say.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Anything you want to promote? Any books, or you said you wrote an article or something? Anything at all? Business?
Well, the articles I write were trying to help other people with problems in Thailand.
Okay.
So I sent them to the embassy, and I don't know what they did with them. But No, I'm not really a promotion guy.
Sure.
Just low key and, happy to be here and really appreciate the expats you meet because they're not the run of the mill people you know in the US or maybe even in Canada. They are adventurous people. They've been around. They're smart. They know how to get things done. They're like foxhole friends that, they'll help you often. It's a great life.
Got it. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think of David's story and his experience in the Philippines. If you take your time to write it, I will take your time to respond. And it's always cool to get an idea of different countries within the Southeast Asia. If you're thinking about traveling here, and if you want to come to the Philippines, meet the perfect girl for you, check out peanutheart.com. I met the owner of that site and his lovely wife. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.